would you say that finding a way to set a hard deadline will be beneficial given my specific situation?
Yes.
And maybe I should elaborate what I'm asking that. During the process I was describing, right at the end of the summer, I got commissioned by a company that makes music for films, etc. They asked me out of the blue to make an album for them. And they gave me $3,000 and gave me complete freedom, and it could be mine. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. I said yes in May, and they gave me like 2.5 months. And I said, sure, I'll do it. No problem. Great. I went on with my life, million shows a day, whatever. And I remember very clearly, all of a sudden, I was recording a guy that I produced in my studio who was also selected for the project. And he asked me like, oh yeah, we were actually finishing the album, his album. And he asked me like, oh, can I hear your album? How is your album turning out? And I had zero. And I was like, it's 11 days and I got nothing. So at that point, it was like, oh my Lord, I have to make an album in 11 days. And it worked. And it's honestly, I think it's the best music I ever done in the shortest imaginable time. The experience of that hard deadline was probably the most psychedelic music creation I ever had in my life. And I know I secretly crave for that necessity again, because all of a sudden it was like a super focused power where the only thing I was doing outside creating music was eating and sleeping.
Yeah.
But it was the deadline that was imposed. Mm-hmm. I cannot fake it.
Yeah. So this is the thing. This is the thing about the difference between convenience and so if things are convenient, you have to coerce yourself to do them, unless you're feeling massively motivated, which comes and goes. Okay. So when things are convenient, well, I can finish at any time. Then it's like, well, then you got to use sometimes superhuman levels of motivation to get something done. The great thing about things being inconvenient, so for instance, the deadline is hugely inconvenient. One that's 11 days away when it's a full album is massively inconvenient. But in that situation, you no longer need to use coercion. You don't need to coerce yourself. You don't need to force yourself to do anything. Because the motivation has been given to you by some external force. All right, this is why all of the training that I do is live. It's why the way that I do everything now is in order to remove the need to coerce myself to do anything, because it's like the universe, the way I've set things up, are meaning that I am doing them automatically. I don't have to think. It's like, oh look, there's a thing on the calendar. That means I need to prepare for this now. I'm going to do it, and then I do it, and then I do it. So actually, having external forces, external things which feel like, oh God, I've got to do this thing. If it's very inconvenient, I don't have the freedom. It creates freedom. It creates an enormous amount of mental freedom, having things that you have to do because people are expecting it, or because of some external reason. It doesn't have to be people expecting it, but setting things up in that way it's definitely the way forward if you're working, particularly if you're working on your own. Because if you're working on your own, there isn't anyone else. So therefore, yes. I mean, what would your answer to that question be, given what you just said?
No, I was expecting some kind of. I mean, I entirely agree with you, but the question would probably be, how could I set a force comparable to that of the deadline that was given to me, that will set me in a
right.
similar path?
I'm going to leave you that question. And what I want you to do is I want you to do a free writing session on it. Literally just open your mind, just write whatever comes out for 10 minutes on that question.